Hey everybody, this is Jason from Fuzzlord Effects, and you are listening to the Fuzz Life Podcast Show. In this episode, we're going to talk about 5 things that you can do every single day to promote yourself on social media. So the reason I'm sitting down to make this episode is I know there's a lot of people out there that are in a band, they're an artist, a tattooer, they are a luthier, or they own a guitar shop, or they do a pedal company. So whatever it is that your creative endeavor is that you're pursuing in life, I believe in what you're doing, and I think that I have 5 little tips that will cost you nothing. I'm not talking about paid advertisement or sponsored ads or anything like that. It's just some things that will change the way that you think about how you promote yourself on social media. So I think you're really going to enjoy this episode if you're someone that is trying to get your message out to the world. I appreciate your time. I hope you're having a good day, and we're going to start right now. All right, again, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to the Fuzz Life Podcast. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe and share it with a friend. And I just wanted to let you know that all of the Fuzz Life Podcast episodes are also available on YouTube. That way we can hang out there and have somewhere to comment and talk back and forth with each other in the community and keep this dialogue going. So it doesn't end here. If you want to talk more about this episode, let's hang out on YouTube. Otherwise, you can catch up with me on a daily at Fuzzlord Effects on Instagram, or check out the fuzzlordeffects.com website. So getting back to today's episode, I have 5 simple tips for you that I guarantee if you follow them and approach them with a positive mindset, you will see results from it. It'll be a way that you can grow your band or your pedal company or guitar company or whatever it is that you do in a way that really promotes positivity. So let's start off with tip number 1. So the first tip that I have for all of you, and it's possibly one of the most important of the 5, is that on all of your social media accounts, and I'm talking Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of these places that we should all be hanging out, we all have to post every single day. A simple way to think about it is consider it like social media hygiene. That means every single day, these are things that you just get in the habit of doing. The reason I say post every single day is because we live in a very fast-paced society, and the way that these different websites and platforms work is, so for the first day or two that these posts come out, the websites tend to show them in people's feeds. And then after that, and they don't get much action, they kind of remain dormant. So something that's talked about a lot is that if you look at a business or a band or an artist on social media and they haven't posted in 1 or 2 weeks, it looks like they're not serious about what they do. So a lot of people are working towards this goal that it's their life ambition to become a professional musician. So if that's the case, you would only assume that you would work every single day as hard as you could. So tip number 1, make a post every single day on as many platforms as you can. So post to Instagram. If you're a band, you might post a photo of your band practice or a sound clip from your band practice. Then you would also post that same image to Facebook for your fans that you have on there, as well as on YouTube, for example. There's also a YouTube community page where you can post little articles and photos and videos, so they don't have to be highly produced once a week YouTube videos. It's just something very positive that you can do to just post every single day, and it doesn't have to be something crazy. It can just be an update on what you're doing. If you're a tattooer, you could do a daily post of flash sheets that you're working on. The beautiful thing that we have going right now is that there is no obstacles anymore to get your message out there. 10, 15, 20 years ago, we would have all had to pay to get commercials recorded or hire someone to help us produce these things. pay for time to get radio ads run to talk about your show that you have coming up. The only thing stopping us from putting out content every single day is our own motivation. So, tip number 1, put out content every single day. All right, so with that in mind, let's move on to tip number 2, which is during these posts every single day, pose a question to people. The point of this is sometimes people post things that are really just, it doesn't give us any chance to interact with them. People just post a picture of their new guitar, for example, and just say, look at my new guitar. It's kind of hard for us to interact with something like that other than just say, hey, that's cool. Or most of us just like the post, move on. Versus imagine posting a photo of your new guitar that you just got. You're in a band, you're all excited about it. You're about to play the show and you got this new guitar, whatever it may be. Now imagine making a post about your new guitar that you just got. And then asking your fan base, like talking about, oh, I just got this new guitar, I'm really happy with it, and I've been saving up for a long time. And then posing a question to people. Tell me about your favorite guitar. Or tell me what's your favorite color of guitar. Like maybe I got a new SG or something. What's your favorite color of SG? The point of this is that every time we make a post, we can do so in a way that is, I would consider negative, of just putting out some info without putting any thought into the other person. When we actually take the time to formulate a question with the audience in mind, it gives people a chance to interact with us. So let's say that you're an artist or a tattooer, and you do this new flash sheet that's like a bunch of traditional tattoo flash kind of stuff, and you got 12 different designs on a paper. Perhaps you could pose a question to people and say, which of these is your favorite tattoo and why? Something really missing from a lot of people's social media posts is the connection with the audience and then prompting them to get their opinion, their input, their feelings about the topic, and then to interact with. I hope that each of you, when you're doing this daily post to promote your band, your pedal company, your guitar company, or your guitar store, whatever it is you do, post a question as often as you can that's as broad as you can, that gets everyone involved. It's not just like, what's your favorite Dunable guitar you have? It might be, what was the first guitar you got when you were a kid? I think it's really easy for us to forget sometimes that these things are called social media, meaning it's a way for us to interact when talk. It's a way for us to interact and talk with each other, and we really need to focus on that because it makes it more fun for everyone involved. So we've just covered about tip number 1, you should post every single day. Then we talked about tip number 2, that we should pose questions as often as we can with the viewer in mind to get them involved in the post, because that's the most fun thing about Instagram and Facebook or any other platform, is that we get to meet people all over the world and interact with them. So it's our job sometimes as content creators putting out stuff to do our best to make it easy for people to get involved with what we're talking about. All right, so now that we've covered those, let's move on to tip 3, which is you need to answer and reply to every single comment that you get on every social media platform. The only time that I would recommend not responding to comments is when people are just being negative for no reason or criticizing you in a way that's not from a place of support. Like if someone just says something mean about what you're doing, the best thing you can do is just move on and not acknowledge that and get your day brought down by engaging in negativity. But I do know that if you're putting out music, or you just shared a clip from your latest band practice, this new song you're working on, like, hey, check out this new song that me and my friends have been working on. We're really stoked about it. You ask a question maybe about like, what is one of your favorite albums that you've listened to lately, because you're curious to get other people involved and know what kind of music they're listening to also, so it's not just a one-sided thing. But once people start commenting back and engaging with you, you have to have the respect for your audience to go through each and every person and comment back to them in a way that's thoughtful and meaningful and continue that conversation with them. I can't think of anyone in the world that's too busy to take 10 seconds out of their day to respond with a thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks for taking the time to listen to my band. If you don't got time for that, respond with a heart emoji or whatever it is that you like doing. When you get people engaged in your post, and you don't comment back to them, it appears very ungrateful. And I think it's just something to keep in mind that when you do get these, it's just something to keep in mind that when you are getting attention from like fans or people interested in your creative endeavor, to really just take the 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds it takes to respond back to that person in a meaningful way. Because really, myself, at Fuzzlord Effects, I am just incredibly grateful for each and every person who takes the time to watch any of the things that I put out, and then go as far as to take the time to comment on one of my posts and say something friendly or fun, or they talk about one of their favorite stories or their favorite albums and stuff. So really, it's just about gratitude and showing respect to your audience. Everybody's been to the concert, right, where you get to meet the band after the show that you've been wanting to meet for a long time. Like maybe these people are your idols or something. And we all know how incredibly good it feels to interact with these people and figure out that they're nice people, or they sign your CD, or they shake your hand. Me personally, I'll never forget these things for the rest of my life. Conversely, I'll also never forget trying to interact with these people that couldn't make the time of day for me. I understand people are busy and have things going on in life, but from a fan's perspective, like me, enjoying a band and wanting to talk to them after the show, it kind of hurts your feelings a little bit when they are too busy doing their own thing to just say, hey, thanks for coming out to the show. So keep that in mind. Every time we go on social media and we make a post, it's like, imagine that you're a band at a concert and there's 10,000 people watching you. And then out of those 10,000 people, 5 people walk up after the show to shake your hand and say, thank you for coming out. So I encourage you to engage with each and every one of these people and to thank them for taking the time out of their busy lives to engage with you, because that is part of what makes social media an interesting thing to do. Sometimes I think of social media as like you make a post and it's almost like you're a band that just played a show for 10,000 people at the big festival. And then out of those 10,000 people, maybe 10 of them just loved what you do and they wanted to take the time to walk up to you, wait around after the show, shake your hand, and thank you for what you were doing. So try to keep gratitude in mind and really take the little bit of time out of your life to thank these people and engage with them, and let them know that you value them also. I really want everyone listening to this to understand that these aren't tips about how to manipulate people. This isn't marketing stuff. This is all about being thankful and grateful for the attention you get and creating lasting relationships and connections with the people that admire your work. All right, that leads us to tip number 4, which is use hashtags every single post. Sometimes it can seem like hashtags are just kind of a pain in the ass to do. They do take time to type them out. But think of it like this. This is how hashtags work in my mind. We're in a giant parking lot, and there's 100 different little groups of people standing around having conversations. One of them's talking about tattoos. Another one's talking about custom-built guitars. There's another little group of 50 people talking about guitar pedals. There's another group of people talking about guitar demos or poetry or photography. Every time you use a hashtag in one of those groups, you put your photo or your video in front of them. So if you're a tattooer and you have some photos of the work you just did, or even better, some time-lapse footage of you working, well, yeah, of course you would walk over to the big crowd of people that love tattoos and want them to see that. If we're not using hashtags, folks, we're standing in a crowd of 1,000 people and just kind of throwing our photos, videos, and music on the ground in front of us and hoping someone's going to stumble by and see it. So to further that concept a little bit, one helpful thing that you can do if you're not sure what hashtags to use is to kind of do a reverse search for hashtags. Let's say you're making guitar pedals. You might start typing in things about guitar pedals into the keyword search, like guitar pedal, pedal demo, handmade. And then scroll through those and try to find the ones that have the most followers, like guitar pedal demo, for example, or guitars of Instagram, or tattooer or tattoo life, for example. Whatever your genre is, there's large audiences out there, and it's now your job as a promoter to find out who they are, where they are, and then put your content in front of them. It's really hard for me to like a new band if I haven't heard of them. So keep that in mind. I always try to use between 10 and 15 hashtags for every post. And again, do like reverse keyword searches. Or if you're also like still unsure what to do, let's say you're in like a heavy metal band and you want to get your message out to more folks, your music, why not just look up other bands in your genre, see what kind of tags they're using, and then follow suit. It makes sense, right? So we've talked about posting every single day. Tip 1. Tip 2, pose a question to your audience that lets them engage in what you're doing. That way it's not just about you. When you sit down and have dinner with someone, or you see a friend for coffee, they're not going to want to hang out with you if all you do is talk about them yourself. So keep in mind of how to have a good and meaningful conversation, because that's really what we're doing on social media, and give the other person a chance to talk about their life also, because I would hope that you too are interested in them. Tip 3, answer every single comment. These people are taking the time out of their busy lives to say, thank you, I'm interested in what you're doing. So I would hope that we can all take the time to show them the same level of respect and gratitude that you would want if you waited around to go meet the band after a show. Tip 4, use hashtags in every single post. 10 to 15 if you have the patience to do so. Again, think of it like a bunch of people are hanging out in the parking lot, waiting to go to the show or concert, like football game or something, and everyone's standing around in little different groups, so they're cliques, kind of like real life, right? Hashtags are the ticket to exposing your music or your artwork or whatever it is you do to new people that would never have seen you before. All right, now we are on the last of the 5 tips. So tip 5, whenever you make something to put out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, any type of social media platform, the golden rule is provide value in what you do. What I mean by that is that if you're a band and stuff, and you're usually posting concert clips and photos of your band, things like that, do so in a way that you're thinking about your viewer or your fan. A good thing to keep in mind whenever you're formulating a new post or trying to promote a song or a concert, whatever it is you're doing, is you need to be the TV show, not the commercial. I'm going to say that again. Everything you do, you need to be the TV show, not the commercial. Does that make sense? It's really important that you don't just use social media as a way to ask people for money or for them to come to your show and buy tickets or to come buy your tattoos or your pottery or your artwork, whatever it is you do. You need to keep the audience in mind and show them the respect of making things to entertain them. One way that I really try to do that, even though I'm like running a company and of course we have to keep the lights on and keep pedals coming out, is I run a YouTube channel under the Fuzzlord Effects name, and every single week we put out one video, and 90% of the videos have nothing to do with Fuzzlord pedals. One week it might be a video about, here's some tips on setting up your guitar to play doom metal music, and you can do this at home. Another video might be, let's make a simple pedal board for doom metal music that only uses budget pedals of $100 or less. Or another video might be how to record guitar at home. So those are just some things that I do personally at Fuzzlord Effects. But I really want you all to keep in mind to not just say, hey, come to my show this Friday on a one-day notice and then wonder why no one comes to your show. You can provide some value by weeks leading up to the show, posting clips of your band's new song that are fun to watch and entertaining. Maybe you post some funny memes on your page too. I believe there's a band called Witch Trip on Instagram now, and they have been just, they've been cracking me up with these like Doom-related memes on a daily basis. One of them was like one of the Sleep album cover, all the Weedian dudes walking through the desert, and it said something about like me and my homies on the way to Area 51. So please keep in mind to be the TV show, not the commercial. No one likes to be advertised or like pitched at all the time. Makes sense? So whatever it is you do, maybe you are a talented guitar builder, right? And usually you are like posting things about, hey, here's my new guitar. What do you think? Or, you're trying to hustle and you're trying to make some money and like pursue your dream and provide people with a quality product. But at the same time, if you're this expert in your subject, why not show us some behind the scenes 3 or 4 days of the week of like, I'm about to respray this guitar, like paint this nice translucent finish on this guitar. Let me show you all some tips of the behind the scenes, because that's fun to watch, right? I grew up watching any show on TV, like the Chopper shows or like Pimp My Ride, things like that. I love watching things get made. So if you are a builder, turn on the camera, run some time lapse, put some audio in the background. Give everyone a reason to watch your stuff every single day in a way that like we feel like we're getting something out of it. One person that comes to mind right off the top of my head that does this every single day is Steve Reese from Does It Doom. He was just on the podcast a couple episodes back, so if you haven't heard that, please check out that episode. I think you would really like it. But something I very much admire about Steve is that every single day he makes a post, and it's fun to check out, right? I get on my phone and on Instagram for the same reason everyone does. We want to kill 30 seconds or a minute and be entertained and have fun. So when people provide photos, videos, music in a way that is entertaining, man, I want to come back. Steve also does a weekly video every single week, like clockwork, where he teaches us a guitar lesson. Might be like a Black Sabbath lesson or something. So, I mean, that's pretty selfless. You know what I mean? So try to keep that in mind, whatever it is you do, to provide value to your audience. I think every single person in the world has something you can share. Maybe you do pottery, and you might show us some videos of you working. or give us a helpful tidbit about what you're doing. Really, we all want to get to know every one of you, but when people don't post every day or they just kind of post stuff that's off topic, it gets hard to keep wanting to follow those pages. Something else that kind of coincides with the provide value topic is to stay on topic with your endeavor. So if you're a guitar pedal company and it's like Monday you post guitar pedals, Tuesday it's like check out these 50 circuit boards I'm working on, Wednesday check out my lunch. It's like what's that all about? You know what I mean? Keep your viewer in mind all the time, and always when you make a post, think about the person watching it and how they would want to get something out of taking the time out of their day to watch you. So really, they don't care how much you just bench press today. You know what I mean? Unless your page is about Johnny, the dude that bench presses a lot of weight, nobody cares. And it's kind of disrespectful to the audience. So today we talked about 5 simple things that you can do every single day to promote yourself on social media. And I truly think if you approach these things with a positive mental attitude and follow them, you're going to see good results. And you're just going to be spreading positivity around in the world, entertaining people, interacting with people, getting folks engaged to where they feel like they are part of what you're doing and not just like your fans or your audience. Like you're building a community. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with answering every single comment that comes into that. If people are going to take the time out of their busy lives, and time, literally seconds ticking by, is the number one commodity in everyone's life right now. Doesn't matter who they are or how much money they have. Time is very valuable to everyone. So if someone's going to take the time to come to your show, come to your tattoo shop, your guitar shop, check out your gear demos or whatever it is you do, tell them thank you if they're going to take the time to talk to you. It's only like simple respect. You know what I mean? Just be grateful for the attention that you're getting. And check this out. Some people think that, hey, I've only got 100 followers on Instagram. And then they get 5 comments and they're like, oh, I don't need to respond to those. If you've only got 100 followers on Instagram, you should be thinking, oh my God, I'm so thankful that there's 100 people that like my band and that 5 of them watched the video from the concert and said, wow, that was a really cool concert. Good job. So instead of thinking, I don't have enough followers, maybe I shouldn't care, think of it in a positive way and just think, wow, I'm so thankful that those 5 people took the time to comment on my YouTube video. And don't forget about the hashtags. Every single post, put those hashtags in there, or whatever it is on the different platforms. It's a little different, like keywords and stuff. But that will boost the effectiveness of each and every one of your posts. The last of the 5 tips, and the most important, is to provide value every single day. Now, value, that doesn't mean cheap. That means provide value as in think of your viewer or your audience or your customer or your client or whatever it is that you work with, and try to honestly make things with them in mind because you appreciate their time and you want them to get something out of it. It's not just about you, and if it is, it's not going to work out. 100% guarantee it. So, the quote to keep in mind with that is, be the TV show, not the commercial. So I thank you, each and every one of you, for your time and for listening to this podcast. So I thank each and every one of you for taking the time to listen to this podcast, and I truly hope that you got something useful out of this. My name is Jason Johnson from Fuzzlord Effects, and you have been listening to the Fuzz Life Podcast Show, I really, really, really would appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the podcast, maybe leave a review. And if you found this helpful, please share this with a friend that's in a band or has some sort of creative endeavor or pedal company, whatever it is that they do. Again, this podcast episode will be available on YouTube. That way we can all talk about some of the things that maybe resonated with us in this episode. Again, I'm Jason Johnson. I do appreciate your time. Hope you're having a good week, and I look forward to talking to you soon.